What's up guys, my name is Michael and today we want to talk about landscape photography. Some of you have requested that I would share my experiences on landscape photography with you, and this is what this video is going to be about. So let's get started. There are many things that need to come together in order to create a perfect landscape shot. So I think what we should put in position one is the weather. The weather is something that you cannot change, and the weather will pretty much give you the mood of the image. Example, imagine a cloudless sky versus a sky that's completely gray. Imagine a complete gray sky versus some little fluffy clouds on the sky. Of course, when you do your planning, you can check the weather forecast and decide if it's the perfect day or not. But if you're on travel and you go to this place only one time, then you pretty much need to use what you get. So that was true when I got to the Grand Canyon. We have been there and it was just raining. So it was not what we had in mind for our shot of the Grand Canyon, but still it's what we had. So we had no other chance than do some shots in the rain. What you can change though is the time of the day. Imagine what kind of difference a shot at midday, at noon, is compared to a shot in the early morning when the sun rises. I've been to Death Valley National Park, and you know there are some awesome sand dunes there. And I decided to get up in the early morning at 4 o'clock to take pictures in the sand dunes at sunrise. It was not just an awesome opportunity for great pictures, but it was as well a really great experience to see the sunrise in Death Valley. So you should really get up early or use the time during sunset. So these are the most amazing times to take really great landscape photography. Okay, so we have the weather, the time of day, the clouds. Let's go on to something else. A lot of times in landscape photography, you don't have a foreground. But imagine a foreground gives the viewer a sense of scale, a sense of where are you. So whenever possible, try to play with some element in the foreground to create more depth in your image. This is not only true for landscape photography, it's also true for a lot of other genres in photography. Let's come back to the weather thing. What I like to do when the weather is bad and we have a lot of clouds in the sky, I like to do long exposures. So I use an ND filter, put it on my lens and expose for 30 seconds, 1 minute, 2 minutes, whatever it takes to get a little motion in the sky. You should try that when the weather is bad. Use an ND filter. What I also like in landscape photography is when the sun becomes a little star in your image. And the way to do that is pretty simple, but you need a clear sky, you need a wide angle lens, and you need to close your aperture. Use something like 13, 16, or even 22, and you will get a nice star where the sun is. If you're looking forward to print your image really big, then I would recommend you take a panoramic shot. That doesn't mean that you use a wide angle lens. It means that you use maybe a 23 or a 35 or even a 50mm lens, and you take overlapping shots and stitch them together in Lightroom or whatever software you are using. In this way you are getting multiple times the resolution and you can increase your angle of view however you want. Keep in mind that this will only work if you don't have any moving parts in your image. So if you're at the beach and you have waves, you're gonna be in trouble if you use that method. Whenever possible, you should use a tripod for landscape photography. The reason is that whatever you take pictures of, you should try to use a tripod, because you can lower your ISO, you can use longer shutter speeds, you won't have any noise, you won't have any camera shake or motion blur. With that being said, turn off the image stabilization in your lens or body, and you can now use your lens's ideal aperture, which is probably around aperture 8. With this, you will get the best image quality. You will get the least amount of blur, you will get the least amount of edge darkening, and you will get the most sharpness out of your lens. I think what a lot of people miss when they try to create a really stunning landscape photograph is that you need to create opportunities. That means you need to travel, you need to research, you need to know where you want to go. The landscape won't come to your couch. So put on your shoes, go outside, get up early, travel, create these opportunities. By the way, I think that your perspective is something that is really a difficult thing in landscape photography, because it's really hard to experiment with different perspectives, because you would need to walk a really long distance in order to change your perspective. What helps you there is a drone. I think a drone is a really good tool for great landscape photography, because a drone allows you to see patterns, for example, on a vineyard or on a field or something, or in a forest, straight from above, where nobody else probably has seen that before. And being in the air is something that you usually don't have, and a drone gives you that. So if you have a drone, try experimenting with it for landscape photography. By the way, I have a video about drone still photography online, you should check that out. Now, these were my quick tips for great landscape photography. I hope you can use them for your photography. As always, please hit the like button, hit subscribe, and now have fun looking at some landscape photos. Goodbye.